Welcome back to K&L Farms. And before I pour, I just wanted to bring you up to date because everything I can think of is ready to go for tomorrow. I'm going to pour this concrete tomorrow. 4 or 5 guys will show up and help me. But let's start out with, if you can see back here, see this paper. This paper. I was on a job with a cousin maybe 3 years ago, and the cousin said, well, how are you going to protect that wall? We were pouring a garage, and there was a garage structure. We were pouring the pad out front, and he's like, well, you need to put something up there. And I was like, you're full of hooey. You don't know. Well, you knew more than I did. So that's why that paper's there, because that concrete, this is going to be inside the building, inside the new building, and I want that to be a feature wall, and I don't want a bunch of concrete splashing up against it, because once we get to pouring concrete tomorrow, and I won't show you a video of us pouring, I'll show you a video later on of the finished product, because there's going to be a whole bunch of guys here, truck here, and we're just trying to get the mud on the ground and try and get it as flat as we can get it, and then the truck leaves, and then we spend quite a few hours trying to get it straightened out, leveled off, and flat and clean, and it's quite a show. But I'm going to show you a few things. But barrier paper's down, rebar's down. Now you see the rebar doesn't have a standoff piece, and I used to call them a Dublin, but they used to be a piece of concrete. And I think I illustrated it on a different video, but I had the taller one, went back and got the 1-inch ones, or that's actually a 2-inch one. And the reason being is that the chute, we're not bringing a pumper truck in because I'm too cheap. We're just gonna, they call it tailgating, off the back of the truck. 16 feet is the longest they carry on the truck. This mark, there's an X right here. I'm standing on an X right here. So I'm gonna have to take a wheelbarrow, and there's 2 wheelbarrows. You can't see on the video, but there's 2 wheelbarrows. The concrete truck dumps them in a wheelbarrow, and then a person will take that wheelbarrow over to that corner and dump it, and then I'll start working it. He'll come back, or another person will get another wheelbarrow, and we'll be rotating. And we think, excuse me, we think that there's going to be about 10 wheelbarrows, and then after that, from this point, I can rake it. And you should be able to see in the video all the monuments that I talked about on the previous video. They're all set, and they're all level and true. And I took one of those wheelbarrows and a couple bags of concrete, mixed it up in the wheelbarrow, and then I took a trowel and I concreted for temp. I concreted all of the monuments around the perimeter, so that that's another thing you don't have to deal with, because before pour day, you want as much done prior to when the truck gets here that you can achieve. Now there's a few things I need to carry out, but not very much tomorrow. And then as you can see on the camera, this is 20 foot wide, and I don't know of anybody that tries to screed 20 feet wide. It's just your first rough leveling of the concrete. And so I took these stakes, I call them a survey stake. I took these stakes every 4 feet, I put a stake out, and then I took one of these, which I bought, pardon the chicken, chickens do what they want to do, just the way it works. I took one of these, and let me show you better, illustrate one of these better. I took one of these, and I put it on this stake. This stake's driven in the ground. That's a 3-foot stake, probably 2 feet is showing. I don't know why that chicken is so amused by that stake. Probably chasing a shadow, but I'm not sure. But in any case, I took that and then I leveled it off of there's a form board behind, or right in front of me, and then I leveled it to this monument. There's a monument right here. Monument right here, preset already. And so I leveled that out, and let me show you the street board. And I'll just pitch this, because that was a spare, just an example. We're showing you what I'm doing. Okay, street board. So I'm going to back this street board up so you can see it. So this street board now is going to set on that outside form, and then on that board that I pre-exist, that I made, that's level and true, and that's the height that I want those fellas to start it out. And once they get it started, they're just roughing it in. First we're going to wheelbarrow this corner in, and then they're going to screed it kind of level, and then I'll come back with a trowel. And this is a new one. This is actually for that cousin I was telling you about. This is a new one. They call it a mag float, and I'll just use this trowel. But before I get to the trowel, they're going to take a bull float. This is our bull float, been in my family for a long time, and I've used it a lot. Take a bull float. After they screed it, I'm going to bull float it. That's the start of getting it level. Okay, now once I get the bull float, these guys, I get this done, I'm going to have to work all this by hand, because around that monument, work it by hand with a trowel. I've got my own trowel. That's actually a cousin's trowel that I bought for him. And then I work this around, okay? And then once they get pulled back that way, remember truck's over there, we're tailgating the truck for this section first because it's wheelbarrow, and then after that X mark that I showed you, then he can actually dump by himself. So I'll have two guys moving the street board, and then I'll be in front of them. Me and probably one other guy that knows how to do concrete will be in front of them, and then we'll do the bull float. I'll screed the trowel around that, and around that door. Okay, so we got it done. Pour this section, pour all the way to the camera, and then the truck can tailgate off that. I got to pull that stake and that form board out of there, that level board, and then we're going to level off the floor that we poured. So there'd be a floor here that we poured. Going to pour that off that. We're going to screed off that floor we poured. Pour that board, leave that board intact. Pour this corner, last corner will be that corner, and then after that we'll take this 3 foot trowel on a stick. We have quite a few of these sticks, and then we start troweling, and then the work starts after the truck leaves, after we get it down and squared. But you're in a rush to get it down and flat. Once you get it down and flat, then you start working it a little bit. But that brings you up to speed. So the next video I do, if I'm as good as I think I am, there's going to be a concrete floor here, 20 by 20, 5.5 inches deep, with these monuments inside of it. Now I didn't show you this monument yet, but remember I talked about it on the previous video. This corner, if you can see this corner, doesn't have a monument there. There's no monument for a 6x6. Remember, rough cut 6x6 up, and then 6x6 timber frame on the top. What it is it's this one right here. And the reason I went to this one right here is because that standard one won't fit, because there's a concrete pad where that 6x6 on the inside of that building sits. There's a concrete pad there. So I'm going to have to inset this and level this and square this in the middle of pouring all this floor, and that's why this one's not ready yet. And that pretty much brings you up to date with what I got going on in lieu of tomorrow. And I won't show you, as I stated before, I'm not going to show you me pouring the floor, because you get going. You got a lot of things going on, and you're just trying to get 8 yards on the ground as fast as you can get, so you can get the truck out of here, so you can carry on what you're doing. And thank you. Have a good day.